and welcome back to Worlds 2024 as it is GAM time this afternoon in Berlin as they take him on. Yay, the fans are hyped. Hello,
Let's go!
guys. And yeah, we're just next to them. Of course, here, guys, I want to talk about Game 1, the draft here, because it feels like you can see who's screaming together, I feel, and who's training together, I feel, insane so far.
Just a tiny bit. You already see it from like SoftBank HAWKS a little bit, the Ziggs, the Aurora, like the composition we saw from them was interesting.
I like that word.
Interesting. So personally, I was a big Ziggs fan, so I enjoyed that one, but it didn't pan out as the game went on.
I mean, I just think in general, I think HAWKS got a bit too AP focused very early in the draft. Like already on the first 3 picks, you've already given away your entire damage composition. You know an AD needs to come through. Makes it hard to just say you're not getting the Yone. We know you're not going to be able to play Orianna and Syndra. And another one that I really like that we got to see Levi bring out was actually his Shyvana. That was a pick. I do like Shyvana.
I will give some context here for the international viewers. GB is the biggest fan of Shyvana. You told me though that you don't like Shyvana AP too much.
I mean, that's because I played AD top, right? So, you know, I hate the AP version. But yeah, Levi's Shyvana was banned pick banned 8 out of 11 times in the Vietnamese playoffs as well. So this has been a comfort pick for him. And while we saw Shyvana have some mixed results in some of the major regions. For Levi, it was always just a cookie cutter pick. You could just slot wherever you wanted to and he'd do great. And you see it here as well. As soon as he got the Red Smite jungle cams item just fully finished, there was no way they could fight against that Shyvana.
It really felt like the HAWKS didn't know how to deal with it. Now, for me, I was interested in their comp because it made a lot of sense for me. You're focusing on actual turret plates and all of that, so they wanted to fight around grubs. The fight didn't pan out. And it was Levi and Kiaya that just dictated fights. The Aurora ulti into the Shyvana ulti, a lot of the times at that point, the backline is just completely scattering. And then on top of that, Jhin ulti is just making it so difficult for the front line to be able to tank all of that.
But it's so impressive that GAM can continue to have this stubby early game. We saw it from the bot lane. The 2v2 looked doomed in the beginning, I gotta say. Mabel had a good time down there on the 6 as well. Then they just got those leads. All it took was one overextension on the Grump fight for all the things that HAWKS wanted to contest. And then suddenly they're just back. And you're right, who was it through? Well, it's Levi and Kiaya.
Yeah, and I feel like it makes sense with the composition they were playing, especially how much distance they could cover with the champions and the ultimates that they had. And I'm like, how can you come back in a composition like this? And also, leading into the next game, what are you going to put in the ban phase? Because is Shyvana ban worthy? Are you going to put Aurora here as well? For me, it throws off your preparation completely when you have a game like that.
A little bit. I actually expected the Aurora ban to come through because at the top of the show, I said the Aurora pick was something that Kiaya had played during VCS and also was spamming a little bit in solo queue as well. So we kind of already knew that Aurora was going to be picked. My question is, like, if you're going to leave it through, then what is the response from the HAWKS? Like, are they going to have a solid lane versus it? Are we going to lane swap against it? Neither of those happened. So to answer your question, probably going to be banned. I think that would be the quickest thing for them to get
And
across.
which aspect of the game you want to focus as well? Is it going to come from draft, something easier to execute for yourself, or something that can give you more map power later on? Because we saw clearly during the Dragon fights that it was going to be, it was an issue for them, and especially because you had Shyvana on the other side, it was really, really hard to contest.
I think this fight in general, you just have to look at the amount of space that's being picked up here. Like Kiaya with a massive flank on the ultimate, but it's the Jhin, it's just Levi in the back, just sitting with his E. He's not even in Dragon form right now. And the only one right now from HAWKS that can play the game is Dasher. And this is just kind of going to be what continues happening in this game. If you even think back to the Grub fights, like objective-wise, HAWKS didn't get as much as they needed in this game.
I completely agree. And I think for me, the Aurora needs to be banned because it sets up for all of that. If you get the Aurora ulti down, then even in that specific fight, Shyvana didn't even have her ulti ready. It was simply just the Tristana taking the angle, the Jhin ulti that was coming through, and all of that, which you said. If I am the HAWKS side, you ban the Aurora. I actually liked a lot of their comps, just not the Rumble on that side. And then you can play a little bit better around grubs, and you're A-okay. They had a pretty good early game advantage just based off of the fact that the Poppy was getting abused by Ziggs early. At least the laning phase bot lane was pretty good for Marble.
Yeah, it was really good for them, and I'm just wondering if they have other tricks up their sleeves here, moving on to the next game on the side of SHG, because you have to come ready, especially when you come at Worlds. You cannot just bring the playstyle that you had domestically. You have to also adapt to your opponents, and you don't have a lot of times to do so when you're doing this in play. And so, any hopes here.
I mean, I think in general, they just need to be better at finding out what lane assignments they want to have before going to an objective. Dagda touched on it in the cast, and I think he was spot on with it as well. There's so often where they're late, but also in this moment as well, like, you've fallen so far behind, and thanks to the reliable Cisco, you know, you get the Dragon Steal as well from Levi. He's able to buffer the EQ as well from the Jarvan. But to go back to your original question as well, Law, in general, we saw it with the swap reset, the grub swaps. Like, they are just not in a position where they're able to trade properly. They overgrouped by Herald, they lost for the first two at bot lane. They need to do that better if they want to win.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well done from the Shyvana. Really made every second count when he was able to just not only buffer it, get the smite steal. I thought Forrest was getting run around this game. It was tough. It was tough. The game was hectic. The first thing I want to see, we have to be able to defend Evian dives, all right? That's the only thing I want. That's the first thing I want to see. If the dive is going to be there, hopefully we have a support. Forrest is going to be there. Just a slower game for the squad.
Keep top lane safe. Story of all top laners. Actually, we'll see if they can fight back here in game 2. GAM leads here in game 1 so far, so let's send it over to the casters on the other side for the second game. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, Operation Protect Evie. Okay, I like that one. Yep. Save the top lane, because again, you know where Levi's going to spend his attention as GAM lead 1-0 in the series here. And into now match point again, only a BO3. And you know, GAM man's already in the audience running around looking for his fans. He's now getting a live view to see if GAM can 2-0 this as we are and pick a ban. And you know what? Banning the Shyvana, very nice start here, I think, for the SoftBank Hawks.
And the Ziggs ban as well is interesting, because I didn't think this would just be immediately taken away, but like they are very nervous about that going across. Yes, you had EasyLove play a game of it in his regular season, but still, bit of a mix-up. Ashe, very high priority though, and I think this is, it's a no-brainer to try and take this one.
Yeah, Ashe, one of the biggest picks, and again, has been banned many, many times. Dagda, where else? And Aurora is another one as well, we saw last game.
Yeah, the Aurora, it'll just be first picked away here, because we haven't seen a huge amount, but obviously it was globally banned. VCS was one of the regions that was still playing it, so it will be HAWKS trying to take that one away. But I think you can try and play into this with like long-range poke. I was about to say with like an Ashe and a Syndra and these kind of things. True. So I think with those still up and available, HAWKS are just going to go towards the Ashe, but it will be GAM who are immediately going to take that on the opposite side, and then the Jhin to try and basically run back what is a very similar composition to what they had.
Yeah, again, you know, 2 pieces of the 5 from before, as you said, as they try to run it back. Let's see where SoftBank go from here, because the Hawks, as you said, want to add in some range into the mix. This time they take away Elio's Poppy that was so good in the last game as well. The Rumble to add into the mix here is repeating the matchup, which again, even in the 1v1 lane without Levi's attention, didn't look that great.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. Rumble got nerfed, and I think a lot of people are kind of expecting him to slip on out of the meta. The fact that you're kind of like, hey, we banned the K'Sante, we're going to just immediately go towards Rumble. I thought we'd actually see an R or something for Evie, just to be like, hey, look, this is something that still fits in the meta, still fits his style, a champion that he's very well known for, but just not really feeling it and wants to continuously go back towards his pick. And it does mean now, as you start to come in towards this as GAM, you can go towards the Lee Sin that was hovered, you can go towards something like the Jarvan, even take that away from HAWKS so they don't have this big wombo combo go button. And I think you're in a good spot as GAM.
I wonder what we're insinuating by getting rid of the Akali. Seen a little bit yesterday as well, 100% win rate after 2 games. And
but Dasher used to be a big Akali and
that is a very good point,
so I think it's a lot of respect to like his history as a player, but we'll have to see exactly what the plan is here.
Okay, so 1 taken off the board. Dash has also been great on things like the Lucian as well. Although the last game wasn't the biggest impact, he was one of the best performing members, and again, has that legacy so far coming through. The SoftBank Hawks that he has been a bit of a star after 7 years to make it to this moment. Tristana's gone, so we're getting rid of repetition. Yone is still one big thing that was open.
I think the surprising one for me is like not looking at jungle picks. I did expect either GAM to say, hey, look, we want to get rid of the Jar, we want to make sure you don't have these gold buttons. Yes, the Viego starts to slip through, but I think this says to me more that they're looking at a Jarvan first rotation themselves. And now for HAWKS, it's a case of, do you ban away the Jarvan to not give that over? But either way, I think you're still happy if you go for a Lee Sin here. So I think GAM are definitely coming out top trumps in this draft.
Just waiting for this final ban, because again, things are changing. Do we get rid of mid? You already talked about jungle not being prioritized outside of that Viego. Sejuani, okay, so that limits the pool a little bit more. Jarvan is an option. You already talked about outside of here for GAM 4.
Yeah, I think either that or the Lee Sin. I think you can see either one.
Oh, Levi, Lee Sin, what a treat.
Lee Sin does very well into Jarvan as well, so you can always take that, but hovering? Leona here.
Maybe they blind mid and then what? Jungle counter pick.
So this is actually the pick that I expected to be high, like most banned coming into Worlds.
Yeah, me too.
Yone is an incredibly strong pick and kind of warps the whole meta in that mid lane, but we haven't seen him a lot in planes thus far, but it does set up really well for you when you already have the Aurora AP damage in the top lane.
Wow, those fast lock-ins though. Let's just highlight Lee Sin LeBlanc here. So the Lee Sin, its setup is going to rely on this mid lane a little bit. This looks like a strong mid-jungle pairing, while on the other side, thinking about that final jungler, they're looking at the Kha'Zix, but it rolls over to the Wukong, which we've now seen twice. So interesting enough, Dagda, we've completely changed the drafts.
Yeah, and Levi's Wukong is absolutely massive for him. He's 43-9 in the pick at 83% win rate all time. This guy is an absolute beast on this pick, and you set up for an incredibly strong level 6 hit for your mid-jungle. Can play for that engage off of Kiaya now as well. Like, GAM's team fighting is a menace, let alone also that still 1-4 split push that we saw in the last game.
As you're talking about Yone, we expected it to be banned. A lot of people did, right? Because of how good the jungle pairings are right now and how versatile it can match with set junglers as well. Wukong just another one on the table here with the Leona as a setup for GAM. This time is more concrete. We talked about their engage last game not being as solid. It was relying on the Poppy and a very reactive draft. This time feels like GAM can spin the wheel a little bit more.
Yeah, I think GAM have a great opportunity to try and play for kind of the post level 6, but I do want to see if you can try and interrupt that here as HAWKS, especially when you look at that mid lane. There's a ton of pressure that come through from the LeBlanc and also the Lee Sin, and especially when we look at like the itemization changes that we have coming through with Storm Surge becoming much stronger. The early Luden's Companion into then the Storm Surge is very, very strong for LeBlanc. She can one-shot an AD carry.
Don't get me started on Storm Surge at the moment. 5 more pen. Let's put it to 25%. Yeah, that item at the moment absolutely busted. So, Dagda, to interrupt there, I apologize, but it does feel like, again, backs on Dasher a little bit more, as I feel like they're kind of used to. Yes, Evie is the star in terms of the name value, but Dasher, if you haven't heard of him, after 7 years, finally making the main stage, the international. This guy has been on this roster since the very start. He even told me at the start he was a top laner in 2020 spring.
Yeah, very first season, split bus. I mean, XT1 Challengers player as well. This guy is definitely trying to make a name for himself, and could do it on the LeBlanc, even opting in towards the Ignite. He wants to play hyper aggressive, and Elio.
Okay.
Going to just walk away here. Vsta not quite able to get the stun, but I think this is what you have to do as HAWKS. Like, I want to see very early aggression. Marble, Vsta, let's be real, smoked EasyLove and Elio in that bottom lane in the first few levels. They absolutely destroyed them. So I think you try and play through that again, and then just play through this really strong mid-jungle and see if you can pick off Emo at the start of the game.
Mid-jungle is important. Of course, last game, you know, it feels like Kiaya did a bit of smoking up in the top lane himself, of course. And, you know, these guys have got a pedigree. We talk about, you know, Levi versus Evie, but you got to also remember Kiaya versus Evie, while not direct, we're talking about two historics of the leagues, of their own leagues rather as well.
But I think it's also two players that came in and almost immediately made a name for themselves with the style of play that they had. Ebby, we got the thumbs up, but was always someone who had a major impact for the LJL. When he was on Detonation Focus Me, he became himself and Arya were like the two players you always watched from this region, always expected to make it to that international stage. And it's become very similar with Kiaya, where it has become Kiaya and Levi for this team. They are the two focal points and the talking points for the GAM squad. And Kiaya's been doing a fantastic job. Had a later start to the international stage, but has made an enormous splash when he has. Like, I even consistently remember him for his Jax play, how strong he was, the outplays he'd have. And now the top lane, going head-to-head, it has been Kiaya favored, and the Aurora looks like it'll get the same here once again.
And again, as we look closer at lanes and we look at this jungle start as well, just know that the pathing has started at the bottom side for Forest here, and we mentioned how important mid-jungle is, and we can echo that sentiment for both GAM as well, especially with Levi on this Wukong. There is a ward spotting out Levi, so going to know his path a little bit deeper, as I think Forest, there's a ward on the top side that just expired as Dasher does some good damage to Emo. My point about Vision is that they know that there's a bottom side start for Forest, despite his lack of top.
This time around, though, Levi is going down towards that bottom side, which may leave Kiaya a little bit exposed in that top lane. So if you end up with the flash slow coming through from the Harpoon, Forest can try and chase down Kiaya in that top lane. So I think you've got options here as Forest as to how you want to approach this, especially if Dasher can get the Spade Crash for the bounce back. It'll put Emo a little bit more extended in that mid lane. You could potentially look for him.
Just watching the effects of the nerf on the Q there, the flamethrower for Evie.
Yeah.
As, you know, we have seen some interesting adaptations. I want to see if it is the Electro Harpoon max or if we are just still maxing Q. Remembering it gets better as we get on with levels, so We'll just watch the levels up in the top lane as, for now, the wave's pushed out. Kiaya backs off, doesn't expose himself to the potential of Forest being top. As I said before, they know exactly where he is.
Yeah, should be fine. The wave is bouncing back nicely, so not going to be too much of an issue. Hawk shot will spot out.
A broken ability. That still doesn't cost mana. Oh boy. All right, onto Vsta. Good steadfast presence stops him in the way, and Levi just walks through. But Zenith Blade is weighted, and patience is the game that flashed for the Shield of Daybreak. But EasyLove ain't able to get the deadly flourish, and GAM now have to back away.
Yeah, a lot invested there by Elio to try and get that play off, but it was always going to be a difficult one to make work just with how well Vsta ended up playing that one. So
true. We'll
be able to flash burnt by both supports, but we'll walk away. I think you're kind of happy as that as Forest, because he's going to get this bottom side scuttle and has already gotten that top end as well, I believe. I know, should be able to walk up and get that top side as well. So I think you're in a great spot now as Forest just off the back of picking up that early advantage.
Dasher stopping the back there, good for tempo again as this Ignite TP LeBlanc. I got traded on back by Emo, but now hits level 5, still has a mana bar to work with for full rotation. There's a small CS lead, thanks to the pressure from this mid lane as well. And again, as we said coming into this game too, that's exactly how the SoftBank Hawks want to play this early lane. This LeBlanc in a good state is like ticking the right box this time around.
The issue that I'm seeing here for GAM is that they're just not really finding control over some of the areas that they need, right? Again, you're getting control for Marble and Vsta in this bottom side of the map, which you saw early. You're having way more control for Dasher as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if on this kind of next turn of events, you start to see Hawks looking for these invades with Forest, trying to put pressure on through this bottom side, looking at these early dragons and just trying to keep GAM in check.
Could interrupt. Well, they're not going to get to the bot side yet because it's still just a 2v2. As you said, how can Forest impact this lane? Still hovering around looking for the secondary clears, and maybe this pressure and this push from SHG leads into an early dragon before grubs spawn in about 40 seconds. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, this is where Emo really wants to try and get this wave crash, but you see playing hyper aggressive on it, so you can make sure it's okay. But Dasher actually kind of has a frozen there, so this is where he's most dangerous. So I think Levi needs to try and come across and help, because you can look immediately, Forest spots us.
Oh, Fate Sealed gets him out, no, rather does not. Sonic Wave and a resonating strike, but there's no execute. Forest comes close. Emo flashes away and his TP is down. So at least for Dasher, the bare minimum is he gets a shove.
That was really well set up by Hawks. You can see Dasher freezing that wave just outside of reach, and Emo couldn't crash it, and Forest straight away gets into the mid lane to make sure he's able to help set that up. And now with that control, 6 minutes about to tick over, it's Void Grub pickup for the Hawks.
Now we just have to see if anything can happen through the top side either, because Elio is moving in. GAM are thinking about a play before Evie gets these minions necessary to get to 6, but that's already past due as the wave is cleared out and shredded while Forest just gets underway.
Yeah, I think it's just a nice read by Elio to support his top laner, because I don't think they were really going to look for the play. It was just a, look, there's a chance that Forest is going to try and move up towards this top side, so Elio reads it well to get into position for the Void Grubs, but they get the reset off. Hawks get the Void Grubs, and GAM kind of just stay looking at them here. They might be looking for a bit more though.
It's hard with the Poppy. Vsta stops him again. That set-fast presence annoying as there we go between worlds. Equalizer in response. Forest gets on out and just with a little bit of a pullback, Kiaya threatens, but there's no kill. Ulti's committed, but in the end, grubs. And the power of 3 go over to SHG.
Yeah, not quite level 6 for either of the junglers. Kiaya just trying to see if he can interrupt the reset from Forest, which is nice, but do GAM just now feel comfortable to try and immediately move over towards like a play mid or even looking for that dragon on the bottom side? Because I think you would like to cross map otherwise, or at least get something back here as GAM, because otherwise you just spend a lot of time looking.
Vsta, you're going to look with your eyes, but hit with your hammer, it seems, as Elio's a level down. It's not going to matter until you see the damage comes through from Vsta. The re-engage with the Zenith Blade, but Elio is going into Fog of War and into danger. Forest gets out with a flash, but in the middle, Evie is cooking him alive! Levi's hit with the burn down damage, and Levi's spacing. Evie almost gets on out. The Electro does good work, but Vista's there to receive. We get messy, we get down and dirty, but that's exactly where SHG want to be in the early game, as Dasher just needs this chain to connect. A stun up, a triple already going over to Kiaya, but Dasher needs another rotation. Distortion, auto 2 kills, and now we're fighting blood with blood.
What the hell is going on in this top lane? The objective is gone. The fight shouldn't happen, but both of them just square up, look each other in the eyes and say, let us at them. And you can see here, right, Elio backing up, just ends up getting cancelled, knocked into the wall. Levi's here to support him, but it's 2 versus 3 as Forest got interrupted on his reset on top side by Kiaya, and now Dasher, first move on mid, gets the damage down. Vsta ends up being able to walk away just a smidge, as Forest does as well, but it's the re-engage that gets the most dangerous, because they try to help out Evie, try to support out Dasher as he goes in on the Yone, but now you've got the follow-up coming through from HAWKS again, and Kiaya tries his damnedest, finishes off one, but just not quite enough left in the tank to finish off Dasher as well.
I mean, a triple kill over to Kiaya. That was a bloodbath.
That was insane.
Man. It's like trying to get fast food on a Saturday in the morning before you take your kids to football. So, honestly, no personal experience with that one, but I know what it's like, Dagda.
Yeah, I think the big things he now needs to look at is the 700 gold lead that is for Kiaya in that top side, and the 700 gold lead that's for Dasher in that mid lane.
Yep.
These are now the two people that we need to look at. Kiaya did a great job in the team fights of finding opportunities to set up the game for GAM, whereas when you look at Dasher, it's going to be about trying to see if he can find EasyLove in the fights and burst him out. The fact he's so accelerated is going to work out brilliantly for him.
But I mean, again, you know, this is what we talked about. Dasher with an almost 1k gold lead. Things are going well, despite that triple kill on the top side. You know, that 1k gold lead for SHG means that mid is always under fire, always in a good spot. Forest taking advantages, getting first dragon, as well as those 3 grubs before. Things are looking good in game 2, and it's a really nice bounce back when this is a different draft adaptation that we've come into for the reset of this second game.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of learnings from HAWKS as well, right? Where it was, hey, we can still have our pressure on bot side. Marble and Vsta definitely getting the better of EasyLove and Elio when it comes to the 2v2, but it's now about how we start to rotate around the map, how we are able to influence the game to play off of our strengths, which is through that mid lane, setting up for these plays on top side as Dasher.
Oh, jumps back and almost got excited because Emo has Fate Sealed available, but Dasher runs on in as Vsta is once again a nuisance. Fate Sealed used to get on out because this support now lives mid.
They still need to be careful though. The Void goes to 15 and they want to
call. Vista's going to hold his line for the time being. The Enchantress Arrow stops the engage from following up. The 4th shot doesn't do too much. Remember, Emo just Fate Sealed away from there. So Vsta will have no more follow-up, and that curtain call, maybe enough damage to seal away for the grub start.
But that's the thing, you've got the TP for Dasher to get back into lane, so since he was the one that absorbed the most of the damage, he should be fine to get into this. Forest considering a play on top side before they look at the grubs. Spots Elio, can he get the kick?
Taken, Vista with the engage again. There's Poppy hitting, blunders into the wall. Elio stunned up again, that W, a nuisance as the first kill goes over to the Japanese representatives. Now for the second, it's Dasher, gets onto Levi in the backside. Dasher is his name, LeBlanc is his game, and with his 3rd kill, SHG are rising to their fame.
And Storm Surge is the damage that they needed to finish it off. Dasher just completing this on his way back. The explosion as he kills Levi, and HAWKS taking over in this game. This is perfect for them, and actually a bit of a different style of composition than what we traditionally see for them. Like, this isn't your big wombo comp. This is a, hey, we have to play for these small skirmishes, play for these fights, and HAWKS are executing beautifully.
Now a 2k gold lead, the grub snatched out of the hands of GAM, which felt well set up, which felt well played for. 5 grubs over to this comp, and again, Storm Surge already pulled up before. Look at the work it's doing as Emo takes a little tickle to the side. Half HP after one small rotation from this LeBlanc.
And this is where it starts to get really tough because Emo has to reset. You can see him going for it. He's too low. Another combo from Dasher and he's dead. So now you're starting to creep up on this control in those side lanes, and that's really where Dasher should be able to find his success and match a lot of what GAM want to do in that 1-4 split push. Even Forest coming down just to make sure that, 1, he can clear his camps, but 2, keep Dasher in check here as well as Emo clears out the wave. Another nice combo. And Emo's going to be forced back.
Yeah. You're right in using the word rough. Second dragon comes up as he's here again. Yo, Emo and Vsta have been living together, except Vsta takes up 99% of the apartment, and Emo's just in a little corner thinking, when will this guy leave?
Yeah, I just want the living room back.
He's always got friends over, like,
but
please.
This is where you can see Emo now has to TP down into this bottom side of the map just to try and keep up pressure, open up HAWKS and look for invade. Elio step forward.
Tempest cripple, sets it up. Forest gets out of the way. Deadly Function finding one, curtain calls there, but the Cyclone in the back end as Forest separates him, the Fate Sealed as well. They've isolated one member, and GAM are pulling apart the pieces. Kiaya pops up again, and all of a sudden GAM are irrelevant in yet another fight as Dasher runs for his life behind enemy lines. SHG, it was going so well, but as Dasher looks for the execute here and will find it, it's still gold back into the pocket of GAM after what we thought was a devastating early game.
HAWKS just didn't really know who they were supposed to go in that fight. Elio steps up, but he's a tanky Leona, and so much of that damage ends up getting absorbed. But watch Levi as well. He ends up just getting pushed completely down into this bottom side of the fight, just into the waiting hands of Emo, and Dasher goes in to finish off the low health Leona, but it means that EasyLove has just opened up with that curtain call the entire fight under zero pressure, and even Kiaya just coming in with that TP as well to finish it off.
It's just such an annoying ult. It creates space. It separates, you can't leave it, it does damage.
Look, there will be a copy pasta. We all know it's coming. It's just going to be a matter of time.
Oh my god.
Can someone message Showmaker? We need
we need him hitting the keyboard because, yeah, Aurora, I mean, the damage, you'll be like, yeah, it's only 1700, but Kiaya, who got a triple kill before, just got a double kill again. So this is the 5-kill Aurora top, who once again is contributing so much to the game for GAM. There's almost 2 items here with SHG. Starting Grubs, in it, or excuse me, Herald in the meantime. Have to still pick apart the pieces and pull back some speed back into their favor, which they found through mid lane earlier in the game.
Yeah, they may even be able to make a play onto this top side. Look at where Levi's gone to. Cleared his red, is now moving down towards the bottom side, which means he's going to be gated from the top end. So HAWKS, I'm watching Marble. Does he fish for the arrow? We try to see if they can spot Kiaya.
Kiaya's almost level 11. The arrow, as you said, he goes in and into the Veil, pops back out, Sonic Wave and a safeguard in, but Forrester's Solar Flare, Zenith's Blade in response. Levi's coming. That's a kick onto the supporters. Forrester threw away out, but a Cyclone that says no. He gets knocked up a second time and taken down by the GAM captain. One mistake into another. GAM are good at punishing them.
HAWKS just weren't quick enough on the trigger pull, and GAM get into position to cover. Kiaya even gets that top wave and the kill. This game is starting to trickle into GAM's favor once more.
This time around, I mean, it was a much bigger lead than the first game. It was a much bigger momentum boost as we look at our picture-in-picture. Emo's hitting a side wave. Well, all that was committed in. He won't find the turret, but this opens up GAM to pick up the bottom side Dragon and stop that stacking that SHG started pivoting towards earlier.
And this is where GAM kind of start to come into their own. The fact that you're constantly getting Elio running around the map, supporting his team where he needs to be. Like, he may not have the flashiest of scorelines, but his positioning on the map and his understanding where to be has been crucial to GAM finding their way back into this game. And now it'll be on him once more to try and work with Levi to get control of these lanes. Dasher is still a problem. Emo hopefully won't have a problem.
He's back again. Dagda, he's back again. He's back again. He's back again. Emo's screaming in comms. He's back again. Evie tries to burn, but as he overloads and overheats, he holds off. The equalizers there. Emo gets out with a Fate Seal. It gets him over the hot coals for the time being as SHG are bringing some pace back, trying to get their game inside.
They want to try and get this bot lane turret. Levi being pushed out of his own jungle. He doesn't have that Cyclone available quite yet, so I don't think GAM want to try and take the fight, but it will be Dasher who teleported in. But I think it's a trade of towers, and in the grand scheme of things, I kind of favor GAM off the back. They didn't have to burn the teleport for Dasher to get down here. Okay. How much can they get off the Herald, though? Maybe a second charge? Could they get the tier 2? It's fairly risky from this position as Levi's ultimate's just about to come back up.
Well, Forrest is the one who's going to take it, gets a good charge, half HP. As you said, what else are they going to find? I mean, SHG got grubs before, so they might do some damage, but as you said, you're favoring GAM because we look at mid, we look at top. What else happened through? Hang on, heavy flash from Kiaya. Between worlds, he tries to kite it out, but he's not going to get too far. Evie has an Electro Harpoon waiting, burning, ticking. Kiaya's shut down, and Evie will not go quietly.
The revenge Evie desperately wanted finally manages to get his hands on the bunny and put it in her place, and now you've got a lot more ease of access for HAWKS onto that top side of the map. They can start to push out these lanes. The flash burnt on both sides means that at least Kiaya is a little bit less threatening if it comes to an upcoming fight as well, because you more than likely expect that kind of flash into setup with an ultimate play towards Dragon in 3 minutes time. But this is a very close game. Both teams going all out on this.
I've enjoyed both these games, honestly. When we were like, yeah, the early game's not really, that great from either teams. We saw a game one that was very to and fro, that was kind of testing each other. This game even more so. It's been enjoyable because, again, when this is the, the last hurrah of these individual regions before they all come together, it is nice to see the top of the competition from both VCS and PCS. Now, this game is dead even. We talked about Dragons being one apiece before. Baron is up in 2 minutes. That's to note as grubs are there over the wall. Elio is isolated for the time being. Evie can do a bit of work here, but with Emo nearby, he chooses not to as Evie just walks back to the wave and catches. He's going to use the equalizer as well, but for the meantime, nothing else is up as it looks like it's going to be a repeat on the top side. Emo is looking for Evie. Doesn't get the knock up in the end as we look top.
Yeah, again, it's kind of Levi covering for Kiaya, and you've got Elio's covering on that bottom side for Emo. So a lot of GAM just trying desperately to get control over these waves in the side lanes and hope they're okay. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, they're trying to open up mid for the time being. It looks like SHG open up mid and then maybe get some good back time as Dagda and 4-headed, 5-headed into the next Dragon. But even with Demolish, even with the 5 grubs, too scared since Levi is always hovering, as you said. But look at the meantime. Dasher hitting sides, or rather Emo, excuse me. And he just takes down a side lane turret. Consistency is key.
How much can Dasher do, though? These are the 2 fed members of either side. But honestly, I kind of give it to Dasher with just how much damage this LeBlanc can churn out of this stage. Hasn't quite got her second item completed, but still just does so much work in these early stages. You can see Kiaya has to give it so much respect.
But this time Forest is a little bit earlier. Sonic Wave doesn't connect. Elio hovers once again. The double burst comes through, but Clone passive comes out from Dasher. Kiaya gets some good trades off. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Dasher connected everything.
The thing is, though, we're going to get in a bit of a split map here. Forest is going to be able to take the red and that top side jungle, whereas when you look at Levi, only going to be able to get the Raptors. Even Ebby starting to come across to try and keep control of that. But if you're keeping this vision control that you can see on the bottom side of the map,
show me.
For GAM, it's going to help out quite a bit when it comes to this Dragon in 45 seconds. A lot of like second item at least completed here for EasyLove, but you're still waiting for stuff like the Black Cleaver on Levi. But yeah, I think with Kiaya now having finished both of his items, GAM feel to me in a relatively good spot. I think they need Dasher. Has he gone back? No, he's still a little bit off from completing the Shadow Flame. So I think they would like to sit him in a lane for a little bit before they can test for this, but I think they're just going to miss that timing window.
Yeah, maybe, again, as you said, if that timing window's off, maybe, you know, third Dragon of the game isn't the biggest be-all, end-all. You know, that win probability powered by AWS, it's gone down a little bit. It was really favoring.
I like the HAWKS, the tiny little bit of the red dink that was there just like, for a moment.
Baby! Yeah, starting to think, again, as this comp comes together, we know exactly what it does with the setup, with the good engage tools, but SHG now pivoting around Dragon.
But it's GAM playing at the map. Look at where Emo is, Bus.
Into the wall again. TP's going to be burnt from this one as well. The kick back, but Kiaya's okay between the worlds set up as Forest is now on an angle, wants to get on out, but you look at the main fight, it's already set up thanks to Emo. Levi gets a couple of spins, he dies to Vsta in the end, but all the pieces of the HAWKS are flying away. GAM keep it grounded in yet another game, and it works out perfectly for them as Emo's sent back into the pit, and even though Vsta finds these angles, GAM's ability to pick apart fights is second to none in this series.
The HAWKS flew too close to the sun.
Oh yeah.
And they get shot down by GAM where they stand. Thought they could catch Kiaya here, but so many members of GAM were already positioned. I was about to highlight Emo pushing in that side, but again, it's GAM setting up on the map better. And then Levi gets a great ultimate across multiple members here in just a second. The fact that Kiaya is able to escape by bouncing onto the opposite side of his ultimate as well. And then the follow-up damage with Elio CCing people, Emo in the midst of everyone. And you can see Ebby, he's struggling to get into this fight at all. So for GAM, again, this mapped position, setting up early on towards these fights, getting themselves into River has been so crucial across the course of this series.
And this might be the last time we see Aurora in the tournament. I mean, this champion absolutely busted in a 5v5. And Kiaya has been playing both games in a row so damn well. We get our goal difference now, and that red tinge becomes a little bit stronger on our screen. GAM now leading with 1k gold lead. They got the Dragon after the fight, and SHG still trying to open up the map a bit more for Dasher as they hover around Baron and clear out vision for now.
But again, it's look at where the lane assignments are. Ebby is sitting in mid, you have double TP. He should be on this bottom wave, pushing it out and looking to try and teleport to the side, but now the pick.
There's no cleanse on this Jhin, but EasyLove has a barrier and flashes away, but Levi in over the wall, and you can see Kiaya again! The worlds are split! This man puts a circle around, gets himself a double, flashes out of the way, the re-engage, and now it's all front to back on the season as GAM time is showing on the clock once more. GAM run down through mid, Forest takes another auto, Kiaya gets the third kill of the fight, Vista's coming up next. Next as Dasher picked apart some of the pieces on the right, but it was only EasyLove, as nothing's easy about this game anymore for SHG.
Dasher gets EasyLove, but it's GAM who are blitzing through Hawks Gaming right now. Emo on this top side of the map, completely pushing in. There is no one to contest them, and every time Hawks try and set up for a fight, GAM are there, GAM are in their face, and they're shutting the door on them.
It's crazy how accurate it's been. It's like GAM might not always have perfect early games, but their ability to come back in fights is always there. And this is one of those moments as we replay how EasyLove started to get picked off.
But again, it's support from Levi. He is always shadowing his team. Kiaya even in position to come through here. And yes, Dasher is able to pick off EasyLove just about on the bottom side. But you can still look at, yeah, Elio is now come into this fight. He's got all the CC to just allow Kiaya and Levi to threaten and run down Forest and Vsta underneath these towers. There's just zero you can do. And it's happening again.
Kiaya. Get this Aurora off my screen. The curtain call will finish off the job. Vsta nowhere to go, slowed down, and in certain death. GAM are looking at 2-0 this series, and in what impressive fashion is their entrance here at Worlds.
10, 2, and 4. Kiaya shows we need another global ban for this damn champion, but it's too late for the Hawks. GAM are on the Baron. Elio is just going to play bouncer into River, and Dasher, Forest, what can you do?
Not much. A safeguard in a sonic wave rather, but he's dead in an instant. This Baron is soon to fall. Heavy found some leads earlier on, but now a fate sealed, even getting a trade off the two Fed members, the two left standing here in front of the Baron, but Emo's going to take short work, and then the burst is there. The flash over the wall, and Emo now in waiting hands. Dasher's up next, and Japan is unhappy right now with the VCS tearing them limb from limb.
We haven't seen these two regions really face up a huge amount. GAM have not managed to face a Hawks game, have not managed to face a DFM, but they are putting them in their place. And this is incredible. GAM looks so damn good, and I think a lot of people tend to underestimate the VCS and write them off as, you know, they don't know how to play out the map. They only look for these early fights, but GAM are a different beast. They've been to international. They've seen what they need to do to improve, and we're seeing it on our screen.
Well, I'm still recovering from the time they broke top esports. Like, yeah. I woke up last night at 3 a.m. I said, not again, please. A 5K gold lead, a Red Bull Baron power play now in the wings. And again, I'm not talking about SHG in this one. TP in the bot side to get that push on. The GAM fans out in force here in the Right Games studio in Berlin. And they came at the right time, didn't they? As GAM look to put these lanes into fruition. What can the Hawks do to defend this? Curtain call definitely not going to give them too many options as the bullets start flying through. Levi on a wing looking for an angle as Emo does the same thing. Dasher with his burst is good. The arrow to punish as well, but the kick's too early. Ignite still gets it through though, but the Cyclone is doing more harm than good for SHG. Vsta runs in and Evie came late between the worlds once more as Evie is left standing. A triple over to EasyLove. Make it a quadra. And at the start of today I thought, nah, Levy's gonna make Evie hold that L next time.
Evie TP'd in and just saw a wall of GAM members welcoming him to the world stage, welcoming him to Berlin, but very quickly booting them out of this series as GAM will take the 2-0 win.
It's the players you love, it's the organization you know, and GAM time is now, baby, against SHG. They've come in, they've found their way back in, and with a 2-0 to start off their Worlds run, GAM is here and serious.
There is no time like the present. The GAM have made it theirs. An incredible performance. Levi, a beast on the Wukong, showing why he has been so feared on it for so long. And across the board, step-ups. Aurora. The champion.
Aurora, never again, I think. Never again. I mean, they're shocked. It felt like a Hawks win. It felt like a Hawks early game where Dasher snowballs, takes over. We saw it against Frank Esports in that lower bracket final. You know, Dasher can take over games, but GAM's ability to be fortuitous in that series was insane. A 2-0. The fans happy they came to see this today. And GAM's debut at Worlds is nothing but exceptional.
What an incredible performance, and I think for me it was kind of what I needed to see from this team. I was questioning where exactly they stood in the whole standings and like who they were going to be able to beat, but this performance was absolutely incredible. Now we do have to see who they will face. This winner of 100 Thieves versus Or7 should go up against them, which you would expect to be 100 Thieves given the matchup, but I'm terrified of either squad. That was demolition.
I mean, I'm excited to see Kiaya versus either Sniper or Summit. That to me seems like a good time. So I'm really excited because again, this roster, and yes, while you can comment on the early game, you can comment on some of the downs in this series, you think there was just so much up. There was just so many good moments from individual players, not just in the 5v5, but individually as well. And I think Levi is hitting hard. You know, after that emotional experience we saw after their first finals in 5 years live, like Levi is still firing after all this time, after 11, you know, all those championships under his name.
It's also just like he played for 100 Thieves Academy, went back to VCS.
That's another reason it would be good. That's another reason if it's 100 Thieves.
We'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, this is a man of a mission. I think the VCS are always a region you have to respect because they will just put out performances like this and now set the entire play-ins trembling going up against them.
Because I don't know, some of those games, some of those moments were, you know, very clean. Like we talked about Mad yesterday, fumbling a little bit in the first game, and there were a lot of question marks for them as well. But for GAM, Dagda, maybe it's okay. Maybe GAM are one of the cleanest teams. Thoughts?
Maybe, but I'm not going to have any thoughts because I'm going to pass it over to someone who's better thoughts on the interview.
It's Levi, everyone. Please give it up for Levi after a clean 2-0 victory, everyone.
Chúc mừng cho Levi với chiến thắng vừa rồi.
Congratulations on the clean 2-0 today. Chúc mừng.
Thì chúc mừng em với chiến thắng vừa rồi nha.
Levi, your 5th Worlds is off to a great start. Are you also happy with how the game went today?
Thì lần thứ 5 tham dự chung kết thế giới ha, thì em có một cái khởi đầu khá là tốt á. Thì em có hài lòng với trận đấu ngày hôm nay không?
Em thấy khá là hài lòng khi mà hôm nay thì các đồng đội của em cũng như là bản thân em đã làm rất là tốt.
I'm very pleased with the games today because me and my teammates has done very well.
Amazing. I want to go all the way back to the first game. Your Shyvana was popping off. We all know that Shyvana is a little bit of an iffy champion when it comes to competitive matches, but your Shyvana was able to get accelerated so fast. So what was the key factor to the victory?
Thì game đầu thì cái con Shyvana của em nó cũng khá là lực á. Thì ở trong giải đấu thì người ta không có dùng nhiều Shyvana, nhưng mà riêng cái con Shyvana của Khánh á, thì lại luôn luôn rất là lực. Thì em có bí quyết nào cho cái việc đó không?
Em nghĩ là em thích con tướng đó thôi.
I think it's simply because I like the champion.
Then would you like to say anything for all the Shyvana players out there to get more courage to lock it in?
Thì em có lời nào nhắn nhủ tới các người chơi Shyvana ngoài kia để họ có thêm động lực để mà họ lock con tướng đó không?
Cái đó thì hơi khó, tại vì mọi người đâu phải Levi đâu.
It's a bit tricky because not everyone is Levi.
Not everyone is Levi. Everyone have to keep that in mind, though. And today, the crowds were going crazy loud supporting GAM today. So is there anything you would like to say to all the fans out there?
Thì hôm nay thì đám đông đã đến đây và cổ vũ rất là cuồng nhiệt á. Thì em có lời nào muốn gửi gắm tới mọi người ở đây ngày hôm nay không?
Thank you guys so much. Cảm ơn các bạn.
Thank you so much, Levi, and thank you, Goa, for the translation. One more time, it was Levi, and it's GAM time, everyone. Thank you.
Red Bull gives you wings. And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good.